because that feeling that maybe you don't know enough never goes away. All right, everybody, welcome to Agent Investor, the only brand that helps real estate agents get off the real estate roller coaster. What do I mean by the real estate roller coaster? Well, the real estate roller coaster is what most agents, and definitely what I was on in the beginning phase of my real estate career, where my income was always going up and down and up and down. One month I would feel like I was rich, and next month I would feel like I was broke. One month I would feel like my business is going to double that year. The next I was wondering whether or not I'd have to go out and get a full-time job. Unfortunately, the residential real estate field, that's kind of how it's set up, right? You have good years, you have bad years, you have good months, you have bad months. And what we've been advocating here at Agent Investor since day one is not to quit selling real estate, but to add investing income on a monthly basis to your real estate income so that you're not on that real estate roller coaster, so that you have $5 or $10 or $15,000 a month coming in each and every month, so that you no longer have to worry about the ups and downs of the market. You no longer have to worry about whether or not your friend is going to buy a house that year. You no longer have to worry about whether there's enough inventory and all of these other crazy things that happen in the residential real estate world. We teach and train agents how to invest in real estate, oftentimes with little to no money, right? You don't need money to invest in real estate. I never had any money to start, and all of this stuff, all the principles that we teach, it works whether you have a bunch of money to invest or whether you have zero money to invest. Agents have a leg up on the average Joe when it comes to investing in real estate. Agents know how to find deals. Agents already have connections in the industry. Agents come across opportunities by accident. Agents already have a big network of contractors, of people that they can rely on. So agents, the ability for agents to invest in real estate is much higher than that of any other profession. It's why I love mentoring and training and teaching real estate agents in general, because it makes my life a whole lot easier, right? Agents know how to value properties. Agents know a lot of things that the average Joe just doesn't know about investing. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting topic, which is the top 10 mistakes, the learning lessons that I learned in the 6 total years that it took me to do my first real estate investing deal. And a lot of people talk about just taking action or, hey, get started as soon as possible. But I'm living proof that that's not as easy done as it is said. It's really easy to say, hey, just start today. But it took me 6 years. I learned a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of lessons along the way, made a lot of mistakes. I'm going to talk about 10 mistakes that I made in those 6 years, how you can avoid them, how whether you haven't invested in real estate yet, or you're in the beginning phases of investing in real estate, or even if you're already investing in real estate and you're somewhat successful, the stuff I'm going to talk about are things to avoid in the beginning phases regardless. Before I do that, I want to talk briefly about a change that we've made on a weekly basis related to our partnership program. Most of you know by now that Agent Investor will partner with real estate agents on deals, on fix and flip opportunities. All an agent needs to do is to find a great deal. Let me know about that great deal. Our company will put up 100% of the money. We will do 100% of the construction. We will then sell the property and split the profits with agents 50-50. The average profit that we split with agents is $80,000, which means 40 goes to the agent and 40 goes to us. We've had deals that have made over $200,000. And yes, of course, we've had some deals that haven't made quite as much money. But having said that, we have done very well overall with these deals. And we are now getting so many inquiries on a weekly basis about how the partnership program works that moving forward, at least for a brief period of time, at least to see how this goes, every week I'm going to be hosting an agent investor partnership meeting. to cover any details that anybody wants to talk about the partnership program, how it works, what are the contracts, what type of properties are we looking for, how to find deals, etc. And I'm going to be doing that. And you can register to sign up. I'll do a brief presentation, then a Q&A to get everybody up to speed on how the partnership program works. You can register for free by going to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. Again, that's www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. And if you don't know anything about the partnership program, you absolutely should be on this call. But even if you know a couple things about the partnership program, what I'm finding, a year into this program is that there are a lot of misconceptions about how the partnership program works. And I often find that people don't understand some of the basic stuff. I've had people come to me and say, well, Tom, I want to partner with you on a deal. But I don't have any money. I don't have half of the money to put up, right? Stuff like that, where to me, I think it's obvious. Hey, when I say I'm going to put up 100% of the money, I mean it. But what I find is that there's probably a list of about 15 or 20 frequently asked questions that I put into my presentation that I guess, I want to believe that everybody hangs on every word that I say, but in reality, I know that's not true. So again, if you're thinking that you might want to partner with us, or even if you're just looking for strategies on how to find deals, I cover that each and every week. And again, you can register for free at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. All right, cool. So I'm going to jump into the topic for today, which, like I said, these are the 10 things that I learned in the 6 years that I didn't do a deal, right? 6 years of me wanting to do a deal, but 6 years of me not doing a deal. It all started for me in 2003 when I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. After I read that book, I wanted to run through a wall. I said I'm going to invest in real estate basically immediately. And it took me until 2009 to do my first deal. Well, why? Why if I could have done my first deal in 2003 or 2004 even, did I wait until 2009 to do my first deal? Some of this stuff might sound familiar if you haven't done a deal yet, or you've only done a couple of deals. And these are the lessons that any investor would benefit from learning. So don't repeat my mistakes, right? That's part of listening to this podcast is, hey, I made a bunch of mistakes. Try not to repeat them if possible. And I'm going to start with number one. And number one mistake I made that caused me in part to not do a deal for the first 6 years is overlearning. Okay. Now that might sound counterintuitive because I'm telling you to listen to the podcast, to show up to my events, to come to my webinars. I am not suggesting that you stop learning. I am actually suggesting that, yes, you should be learning every day. In fact, in this world where you can listen to a podcast on the go, in your car, while you're walking, while you're doing your laundry, there's no reason why you can't listen to a podcast episode a day. No reason why you can't listen to every episode of the Agent Investor podcast and other podcasts. So let me be clear. I am absolutely not advocating that you don't learn. What I am saying is that you don't need to know everything about everything. And even given the fact that I have invested in real estate for close to 20 years now, I, believe it or not, and I'm sure you will believe it, I don't know everything that there is to know about investing in real estate. It's impossible, right? There is nobody on the face of the earth that knows everything about any one individual topic. So the goal is to learn, but to get into the mindset that you don't have to know everything about everything before taking a step. One of the important components about not overlearning is getting a group of people, getting around other people that are doing it, and hopefully getting a mentor or two who can then help you to understand and fill in the missing pieces. Because that feeling that maybe you don't know enough never goes away, right? There's not a deal that I do where I don't have some percentage of thought of maybe there's something I don't know. So you have to get comfortable knowing that you know most things. And in my opinion, you need to get a mentor, a coach, friends that are also doing it so that you can bounce ideas off of them. Okay. Which leads me to point number two, which is getting around other people. So in the beginning, 2003, 2004, 2005, it was me on an island, reading books, listening to podcasts, going to seminars. None of my friends were interested in investing in real estate. I didn't have a mentor, right? So one of the big things about getting around other people that are doing this is the belief that you can do it. Now, what I'm about to say, maybe some of you have gotten past this point, but I know I didn't. So where I grew up, like everybody was kind of, you know, lower end financial, right? To somebody that was successful where I grew up, maybe was a teacher, maybe was a police officer, maybe was a firefighter. Great professions. But in general, none of those people invest in real estate. Most of them, if not all of them, didn't own their own business. So when I started to talk in general about, doing deals with no money, most of the people that I would express that to either laughed at me or tried to tell me and tried to help me. They thought they were helping me by telling me that that wasn't possible, that I was getting scammed or that whatever it may be, right? And I had people in my life that cared about me, that thought that they were helping me by discouraging me. And it goes back to, and I know everybody will this will resonate with probably everybody, but you've all heard the saying, right? Do good in school, get a good job, and you're gonna be in a great position financially. And while I'm not against going to school and getting a good job, that is not an automatic, right? So a lot of the things that I would say 8 out of 10 people believe are not actually accurate when it comes to money, are not actually accurate when it comes to investing. So how do you do that, right? You've got to get around other people, right? So it doesn't have to happen all at once. And you definitely don't need to tell your best friend that you can't hang out with them anymore or, tell your parent that you can't talk to them anymore. But it does start with getting around other people. That can be a mentor. That can be showing up to events. That can be a part of a networking group. That can even be part of a Facebook group. That can be anything, right? But you've got to get around other people that are doing it, right? It's very, very important. Um, it wasn't until I got a mentor and got around other people that were doing it in 2009 that I did my first deal. That was probably my number one. All right. So number three, you don't need to actually take title to a property to invest in real estate. Like you don't need to put up your own money. You don't need to take title to a property to invest in real estate. One of the biggest reasons why people don't invest in real estate in the beginning is because they're afraid to lose money. Well, I've got two great solutions for you, one of which did not exist when I started investing in real estate. But the first way to invest in real estate without putting up any of your own money is to assign or wholesale a deal. So some of you know this, some of you don't. My first deal that I ever did, 13 Cameron Ave in Somerville, Massachusetts, was a two-family. It's actually been the street name Cameron is why I named my brokerage Cameron Real Estate. Okay. But I put that property in the contract for $300,000. And that was a property, it was a two-family that was going to be converted by somebody into two luxury condos. That was the highest and best use for that property. And there was a couple $100,000, probably more, waiting at the end of the rainbow there for the person that did it. Our first instinct, myself and my two partners, were that we had to do that deal ourselves. We had to put up the money. We had to do the construction. And if we did, that's how we would maximize our profits. What a mentor taught us, and we listened, and it was the best advice we could get, is that in some cases, it's better to take, a quarter today rather than a dollar tomorrow. And I'm screwing up the saying. I'm sure somebody out there knows the saying. What is it? A quick nickel. Like it's a quick nickel can sometimes be better than a long dollar. And in this case, by us selling this deal to a condo conversion expert, we made far less than them. We made $115,000 on that deal. And we calculated out what we think that they made, and it was about $300,000. So they made nearly 3 times as much as us. But why was this a great deal for us? Like, why was this important? Well, number one, we didn't have any of our own capital at risk. Okay. So in the beginning phases of investing in real estate, it is likely that you don't have this pot of gold that you can invest. It's how most people start. We didn't have a ton of money to start. Had we tried to scratch and claw to put that deal together, we would have put everything at risk, all of our money, all 3 of our resources. And even maybe then we wouldn't have had enough capital to pull the deal off. But the other thing that was really important about us not doing this deal was seeing somebody else pull off this deal and make a ton of money, because it then gave us the belief, right? Even when somebody was willing to pay us $115,000 to do this deal, there was still some belief that, hey, maybe this is a great deal. Maybe it's not a great deal. We didn't know. But once they actually pulled it off, it then gave us the confidence. We were one step away from doing this big deal that made $115,000, right? So that was huge. Now, the other component about this, where you don't need to take title to your first deal, is the agent partnership program. We are giving you guys an opportunity. Like, if you came across that deal today, that deal that we did, 13 Cameron Ave in Somerville in 2009, we would actually put up the money, do the construction, split that $300,000 profit with you 50-50, right? So when you add the 115 to the 300, right, that would have turned into an over $400,000 profit divided by 2. And I'm using that as an illustrative example. Of course, very few and far between deals make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they do come up here and there. Okay, so we've gone through the first three things, right? I've already said a lot. I've said a lot about really why it took me 6 years to do my first deal. And I have to say again, like, if you haven't done your first deal, don't get discouraged. Don't think in your head, well, geez, everybody's investing. I haven't started yet. I'm a loser, whatever. Like, no, like you're just probably doing some of these 10 things, maybe all of these 10 things. These are the 10 things that I did, right? So you might be doing 10 as well. All right. So the 4th thing that I did in the beginning, and it was a mistake in hindsight, but it was what I did, was that I never picked a niche. Okay. And again, this might resonate with some of you, but I didn't really know what type of investing I wanted to do. So when I said I overlearned, that was mistake number 1. I also never really learned about a small specific area. I was trying to learn about everything. I was learning about how to own laundromats. I was learning about how to do apartment deals with no money. I was learning how to fix and flip houses. I was learning how to do mobile home parks. And I was just bouncing from one thing to another, learning how to invest in stocks. I mean, the list could go on and on. And in fact, I'd love to, I wish I'm at my office right now, but I wish I could show you all my library of books that I have at my house that I never open now, right? Because everything's digital now. You can listen to Audible, but I think it would be interesting to kind of show you guys the variety of books that I learned from. Now, learning is never a bad thing, right? Me learning about like how to operate and own a laundromat, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But going forward 20 years, I never did anything in that business. I didn't take any action on it. And while this is challenging, it is challenging to determine what type of investing you're going to do if you haven't done any investing. It is one thing for the people that are in my inner circle program that I talk about all the time. Different types of investing fits different personality types and fits different types of goals, right? So if you think about like, running, a laundromat type of business, right? Just as a very, very simple example. Um, that's kind of active, right? They call it passive, but you have to own and operate it, right? Or if you look at owning a short-term rental, right? Every one of these things has pros and cons. In the beginning, in my opinion, with the help of a mentor, you really want to have an in-depth discussion about what your goals are, what you want your life to actually look like, and then try as best you can to match the type of investing that you're going to focus on with your goals, right? So if you don't like the idea of having tenants come in and out of your property every week, you shouldn't do short-term rentals. I know that sounds really obvious, but I see the mistake being made over and over again. And I see it being made with people that I mentor, even me telling them this. One person will ask me a question about short-term rentals one week. The next week they'll talk to me about investing in apartments. Totally fine. My job as a mentor is to help you. But my job as a mentor is also to tell you that you need to pick one of those, right? You can learn about them. Doesn't mean you have to make the decision right away. It's like picking a major in college, right? Right. Your first year, maybe you're taking a lot of electives. Yeah. You're learning about a lot of different things. But at some point, you need to specialize. If you don't specialize, it's going to be a mistake. All right. All right. Number 5, don't be afraid to invest in coaching. So I was really afraid to invest in coaching early on when I started my business. I was worried about getting scammed. I was worried about wasting my money. I didn't have a lot of capital to start, but it is vital that you get a coach or a mentor as soon as you can afford it. In fact, if you don't have a bunch of money for a down payment, if you don't have a lot of extra money laying around for marketing or whatever, the best investment that you can make, the first investment that you should make, in my opinion, is a mentor. Why? Well, everybody has the same amount of time in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year. How you spend your time is going to dictate what your results are. Most people, even people that I mentor and I talk to regularly, are spending their time the wrong way. They're doing things that are not going to produce the results that they actually want, right? Um, so it's very important to determine, number one, what you should be spending your time on. If you don't know, if you're not 100% confident on what you should be spending your time on, you need a mentor. And in fact, it is common that somebody will reach out to me that's in my mentorship program. They will tell me what they are doing. They will act 1,000% confident that they're doing the right thing. And it's absolutely not the way that they should be spending their time. And they're surprised, right? They're surprised that I would even challenge that. But how you spend your time is going to dictate how much money you made. So then it comes down to, how do you pick a coach? How do you select, a coach to work with? There's a few components that I would say. First of all, it needs to fit, in your budget, of course, right? So what I wouldn't advocate doing is like, if you have like, if you're like me and you don't have a ton of money in the bank, I wouldn't recommend, putting a $50,000 coaching program, on a credit card. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So the coaching program needs to be affordable, in my opinion. The second thing is that it needs to be a lengthy period of time. It's why our Inner Circle program is a lifetime membership and not a 6-month or a year membership. It is tough. Well, I should say it is impossible to achieve your investing goals in 6 months to a year. I would try as best you can to find a coaching program that's at least 2 or 3 years. I know that sounds like a really long period of time, but it's going to take you that long to start to get some traction. I'm very against, 6-month periods of time. All right. So what else should you be looking for in a coaching program? This is going to sound obvious, but I see sometimes people making this mistake. You need to find a coach that has achieved what you want to achieve in the same industry, in the same niche. So I see sometimes people sign up for coaching programs, say they want to do short-term rentals, and they sign up for a mentor. It's never done short-term rentals. Maybe the mentor does apartment deals. Again, sounds really simple, but your mentor has to have done what you're looking to do so that they can easily help you. You also need a mentor who you like. Again, you know, may sound obvious, but you don't have to love them. You don't have to think that they're the best person in the world, but you have to enjoy talking to them and enjoy reaching out to them. If you don't connect with the mentor that you have or the mentor you're thinking about, or you don't like them as a person, you're probably not going to like the advice and you're probably not going to reach out to them as much as you should. Okay. So those are all the things I would think about when it comes to finding a mentor. Um, so don't be afraid to invest in coaching. Number 6, this is going to be another one that probably sounds pretty obvious, but it's a mistake I made, is when you find a good mentor, listen. I made this mistake. I can tell you that that was a big problem for me in the beginning phases of me starting my journey. I was a young, putting air quotations, confident young man who probably thought they knew more than they really did. And that hurt me because I made mistakes that I didn't need to make. And I did things that didn't make a lot of sense because I thought I knew better than the mentor who had already done what I wanted to do. And again, I see this on the other side. I'm talking about me as a 24, 25, 26-year-old, 27-year-old guy. I wasn't the best listener. I mean, I heard what they were saying, but I didn't necessarily implement what they told me. So in some cases, I made my own mistakes and then kind of had to come back to, wow, geez, I wish I listened to my mentor in the beginning, right? That doesn't mean that if your mentor tells you to jump off of a bridge, you do it. You should definitely question stuff and, determine whether or not it makes sense for you. But if your mentor strongly suggests something, you should strongly take it into consideration. Okay. Number 7 thing that I did in the beginning, that was a mistake, is I did not take little steps every day. I would kind of immerse myself in real estate investing for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then maybe go a month without thinking about it, and then go back in 2 or 3 weeks and immersing myself, and then maybe have 2 months where I didn't do anything. You need to determine what your goals are, and you need to make sure that you're doing a little bit every day. In the beginning, maybe that's just listening to some podcasts or going to some events. Again, a good mentor will be able to tell you how to measure that. But I would say if you're serious about investing and you're not doing maybe an hour a day of something related to investing, it doesn't need to be 10 hours a day. Maybe at some point you get to 10 hours a day. But in the beginning, if you can just discipline yourself to do an hour a day of something related to investing, I think that's very, very important. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be slow steps. I'd rather see someone take slow, gradual steps than bursts of energy and then disappear. Which leads me to number 8, which is to create a scorecard and look at it weekly. Okay, I'm going to give you just an example for a lot of agents that I work with, what they're focused on. Not all of them, but some of them. The ones who want to partner with us on deals need to go out and they need to generate seller appointments. So we teach and train them on how to generate seller opportunities. And they have metrics that they look at every week as to what they need to be doing in order to generate those opportunities. So let's just say that somebody's trying to generate seller appointments by using social media. Well, a metric or a scorecard that you might need to look at every week is how many posts did you do in the week? Or how many impressions did you get with the posts that you did? And I'm just giving a really simple example. But the earlier that you can start determining what activities you need to do and what the measurements need to be in order to achieve that result, the better. So for some of the students that I work with, if they're trying to partner with us, it might be one appointment a week, one seller appointment a week. And that's their number one goal. And for a lot of them, getting one appointment per week is enough to start them on their journey, right? And by the way, getting one appointment a week, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So, you're still going to have to work hard to get one seller appointment a week. But I'm just giving an example. If you're not using a scorecard in your business and looking at it weekly, it's hard to track whether or not you're on progress. It's hard to track whether or not you're doing the right things. Okay. All right. That's 8. Number 9. Now, the mistake I see and the mistake I made is ask a mentor for help when you need it. Right. So I see this in my own mentorship program, and I've also done this myself, which is that you hesitate to reach out to a mentor. Or maybe you don't even reach out to a mentor for whatever reason, either because you're being prideful or you're scared or you're just not thinking. But if you have a mentor, if you have a coach and you're not sure what you should be doing, or you're not sure if you're doing something in the most effective manner, you need to ask. And, if you have the right mentor, the mentor is going to get excited to help you if you're proactively asking the right questions and doing the right things. I'm going to say that again. The wrong mentor is going to get annoyed when you reach out to them, right? The right mentor, when you're reaching out to them, doing things that are making progress, is going to get excited, right? It's why we have our partnership program to begin with. Like, it's one of the big reasons why, because if people are looking to generate seller opportunities to flip homes, right? I get a major benefit if they decide to partner with me. So it's a real win-win. So for me, I'm not sitting there punching a clock saying, hey, somebody paid me for my mentorship program. Well, they only get an hour a week. No, like the people that are reaching out to me on a daily basis or every other week or every week or whatever, every couple of days are the ones that are going to do deals with us, right? So the last thing that I'm going to mention, mistake that I made, this is kind of a tough one to really, I'm not sure how to necessarily solve this per se. I'm going to give some examples, but just another thing that's a truism, which is believe that you can do it. Believe that you can. It's a tough one, right? Because, in the beginning, most people don't believe that they can. I didn't believe I could. Most people in the beginning, myself included, believe that people who are successful, they've got either an advantage or they're better than you for some reason, or you're not capable, or you're always looking, at least I did, at what I'm deficient in. Well, when I started, I was too young, I didn't have money. I could give you a whole host of reasons why I wasn't confident that I could ever do a deal. You've got to believe that you can, that it's possible, and that with enough hard work and effort, you're going to get there. And I'll say this, just a couple things about that. I have had, over 1,000 people either come through my coaching program or through my brokerage, all with goals to make a lot of money in real estate. And what I will say, is this, and it's going to sound like a crazy kind of thing, but it's really true. I've never really seen anybody really, truly try and fail in real estate. I'm going to say that again. It's kind of a crazy statement. I've never seen anybody put real blood, sweat, tears, effort in and fail. What I have seen is people unsure whether their hard work is going to pay off, and then be afraid to put in that hard effort, or not put in that hard effort because they don't know whether it's going to pan out. So I don't know how to solve this problem other than just to tell you what I've seen. And I've seen a lot of people, and I want to give names now, but I don't want to, this would be a compliment to the people I'm thinking about, but I've seen people come in with very limited skills do insanely well because of hard work over time. Okay. I was one of those people. I didn't have a lot of skills when I started. I had no skills when I started. Other than the only skill I had was that I was willing to work hard. Again, I know this sounds simple. Like a lot of the stuff I've mentioned sounds simple, but yet it is still not being done by most people. I've seen so many people give up way too soon. I've seen so many people tell me that they're going to try that then don't. I've seen so many people been given opportunities, right? Almost like handed to them, put in their lap, and still not put in the effort, right? But like I mentioned, what I haven't seen are people that have scraped and clawed and put in blood, sweat, and tears, not for a week or two. And that's why, getting back to like how long should your mentorship program be? I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears for 2, 3, 4 years. It is the reason why I say sales will make you a living, investing will make you wealthy, and that sales should pay your bills. This is why you shouldn't stop selling real estate. Your sales have to pay your bills, but you should carve out time, even if it's 30 minutes or an hour a day, to invest, right? Here's the beauty of our model, right? The agent investor model at a high level is sell to make money, to pay your bills, whatever that is, whether that's 50, 100,000, 200,000, 30,000, sell to pay your bills. Generate seller appointments so that you can partner with us on flips, right? Those appointments that you generate, well, you're going to get listings from them, but you're also going to get these big chunks of income, $40,000 at a time. Then take those big chunks of income and invest either in syndications or invest in deals that you own to provide you with passive income. Every single time that you invest in a syndication, every single time that you invest in a deal that you own, you're going to generate guaranteed monthly income. After 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that money is going to start to pile up. At some point, whether it's year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, etc., you're going to have enough passive income coming in that it's going to eventually exceed your income from sales. At that point, you can kind of continue on doing what you're doing, or maybe you adjust your sales business and you start, not taking the clients that you don't want to work with, or maybe you don't travel quite as far or whatever, right? You're in control of your business, of your time at that point. And that's the whole model. So I talked about so many different, mistakes I made, and I probably could have kept going on because there were a lot of mistakes that I made in the beginning. And even with that being said, right, like I can sit here and tell you all the mistakes that I've made. You guys are still going to make some mistakes, right? And guess what? Newsflash, I'm going to still make some mistakes. So we're all still going to make some mistakes. However, making mistakes isn't necessarily a great thing. You can use them as learning lessons. And yes, sometimes mistakes are necessary and they're going to happen. But you want to eliminate the ones that you can eliminate that are obvious, that there's just no reason to have those mistakes at all. And I hope today provided you guys with some stuff to kind of think about. And this has helped you. I do want to just give one more kind of plug for that weekly meeting that we're doing on the partnership deals. Again, it's www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. There's no reason to not jump on one of these calls. You can jump on more of these calls if you want. You can jump on more than one, but I don't see any reason why, if you're listening to this now, that you shouldn't jump on one, because this partnership thing, it will benefit every single person that I'm talking to, right? Because sometimes I hear people say a few different things. They'll say, well, I already do fix and flips, or I already work with a fix and flipper. That's great. Like, we're not looking, this is a program that's going to add to your income. Why would it add to your income if you're fixing and flipping? Well, guess what? We buy in all of the United States. So I promise you that if you're in my market and you fix and flip in the greater Boston area, and then you get an opportunity in Hartford, Connecticut, you're probably not doing that deal, which means that you're passing up an opportunity to get 50% of the profits just for kind of, putting up your blinders and say, hey, this won't work for me. It will work for you at some point. And it's a significant enough money that you shouldn't ignore it, right? If you get a lead that you can't, maybe you're too busy. Maybe you ran out of capital. Maybe it's just a deal you don't like and maybe we like. Maybe it's a type of property you don't like. Maybe it's a location. Maybe it's too far for you. Maybe you just want to see what partnering with us looks like. Whether you do a ton of these deals on your own or one here and there, you should definitely use this to put in your back pocket. So no reason to not jump on one of these calls, www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. They are live, right? So you can ask any questions that you want. There are frequently asked questions that I try to cover, but then I open it up to see what else everybody needs help with. So again, guys, focus, spend at least a little bit of time every day on investing. You don't need to, Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't need to build Rome in a day. You can't build Rome in a day, even if you want to, but continue to get educated, continue to get around other people that are doing this. And I hope today was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you soon. www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com.